great franchisor interview this week on our ZorZoom series. Today we'll be speaking with Heather with Payroll Vault, goodness, and helping you to uncover the good information that you can't just Google to find out.
So before we get started, I just want to let you know you can find more great interviews just like this one on our YouTube channel or in the Find a Franchise section of our website. All of our socials are at the franchising company. So we interview a different franchise every week. So make sure you hit the subscribe button on the YouTube channel so that you don't miss any.
And if you have any interest at all in Payroll Vault, you can text Matt directly at 270-215-2844.
Yep, we'll just verify that your market's available with Heather and talk about next steps.
All right, let's get to it. So, like I said, Heather with Payroll Vault, tell us a little about this brand. Give us the elevator pitch.
Well, so Payroll Vault has a couple great things going for it. Number one being it's a low-cost investment. There are very strong profit margins and opportunities there, as well as it's a work-from-home opportunity, no brick and mortar, no inventory, no equipment necessary, so overhead is minimal. The opportunity is also great in that the location is just a protected inbound lead territory and marketing area, but you're actually free to provide service throughout the entire United States.
And what kind of services are we talking about?
So the focus is mainly on payroll for small businesses. The market is cluttered with big box brands that really cater to larger corporations and companies. And so if you're a small business owner, it's difficult to get good customer service with those big box brands. So that's really our focus is the smaller businesses, 25 employees and under is the real sweet spot. Where we provide a white glove level of customer service that they just can't get anywhere else. In addition to payroll, we also have a whole slate of ancillary vendor partners where we offer additional services that go hand in hand with payroll, but we don't do the service, we just get a revenue share with that. So like HR, pay-as-you-go workman's comp, a labor poster program, timekeeping solutions, so really workforce management solutions.
Excellent. So talk to us a little bit, about how do your owners go out and find clients? How do they build their business?
So there's a few different suggestions that we give. It is a boots on the ground type operations, but it's really more about networking. So joining local chamber of commerce, local BNI groups, leads groups, that type of thing, where you're connecting with other business owners. But one of the real key solutions for our franchisees to find clients right now is their ability to connect with like local CPA firms, business bankers, mom and pop HR companies or insurance agencies where they don't want to refer out to the big box brands. So they'd rather have a more local community feel where they can refer for that payroll service. But CPAs are really the key because they're doing payroll for their small business clients out of necessity. Again, those small businesses have very limited options. So in a lot of instances, our franchisees have been able to connect with those CPA firms and acquire their book of business for payroll at no cost because the CPA firms just really don't want to do it anymore. So they're very grateful to be able to hand it over and they do more of a referral partnership where, everybody refers to one another, which really helps the franchisees add clients. They will get leads through corporate, the national marketing, the main website. That's what the protected territory is for, but that's not going to be enough to grow the business as much and as quickly as you'd like. But there will be some that come through that way as well.
Okay. And tell me, what about the experience? What if our clients have no idea how to do payroll services?
So that's not really the hard part. The software does the heavy lifting when it comes to processing payroll. So number one, they will go through American Payroll Services training and they'll become a payroll expert. So they'll learn what they need to. But the software, like I said, really does the hard part. The more important piece is that they can talk to people, that they can go out and they can network and can grow their business. But there really are two sides of the business, the back end payroll processing and the sales and marketing. So the other piece of that is hire to your weakness. So if you're a strong numbers person, go out and hire the salesperson. If you're a strong people person, then you hire the numbers person.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so you kind of touched on this a little bit with the existing business from CPA firms, and that you can go out and acquire, or they'll just hand it over. Are there other opportunities out there or other organizations that you can go and maybe get some of those referrals?
Yeah, so anybody that's dealing with the same clientele, so anybody that is working with small businesses like local insurance agencies, they don't want to refer out to the ADPs of the world because ADP offers those services. So they risk losing clients that way. HR companies, more of like the smaller, again, local business bankers, things like that, where again, ADP, Paychex, Paycom, they have all those services in-house. So if they refer to those types of companies, they stand that risk of losing a client themselves. So they want that more local feel also. So there's a lot of different opportunities when it comes to making those referral partners.
Yeah, that makes
Okay.
sense.
I've never thought about that. I took a note. I learned something new. You mentioned territory just briefly. I feel like if I remember correctly, there's options. You can have non-exclusive or exclusive territory options. Is that correct?
The territory is a protected inbound lead territory, which means if a lead comes into the main website and the business is located in your protected area, you get that lead. That's your area to join the chamber, to become that payroll guy or payroll girl in the area. But beyond that, the nature of the business is referrals. You're going to get referrals from your clients naturally. You meet someone who maybe owns another franchise and they've got friends in that franchise brand that need payroll services. So you're going to get those referrals. So ultimately, with the territory, you're not limited to providing service just within your territory. Once you make a relationship and it's your connection, you can provide service throughout the entire United States. So ultimately, most of our franchisees have clients across the whole country.
That's one of my favorite things about this brand is, number one, you got reoccurring revenue, and number two, the opportunity is really endless.
It really is. And I think that, our franchisees that are in the system, some of them are very content and happy with where they're at. And then we've got some real movers and shakers looking to blow this out of the water. So we've got both extremes. And if you're looking for an owner operator type model where you can make $200,000, $300,000 a year and you're content with that, then you can do this. If you're an entrepreneurial type candidate that wants to hire people and grow this exponentially, then you can do this. So it really provides the opportunity for either type candidate.
And that's one of my favorite things is that it can be part-time or a full-time gig, which is actually differentiated in the item 19. So it shows different scenarios. Can you just say an idea of, do most people do this on a full-time basis, or is it kind of half and half?
It's actually more part-time. Based on the item 19 in the FDD, I believe there's only 10 full-time owner operators in the system. That is based off of 2023 numbers. We've closed 9 new franchise locations since January. So I believe most of them are going to be owner operator as well. So the numbers will ultimately change down the road. But I think in a lot of instances, they mainly start out as owner operator. They grow a team, they get people running it for them, and they can take a step back.
And so when they do start out, do most of your owners start out just themselves handling both hats, or do most of your owners hire one of those positions day one?
That it just depends on the person, right? So it depends on how big they want to grow. I've got some that have hired staff right out of the gate because they're really looking to grow very quickly. And they are coming in with the capital to be able to do so. But with the opportunity, It's a lower cost investment. So to start off as an owner operator and run it yourself and not have to hire means your profit margins are going to be stronger in the beginning. So you have both options. And so I would say it's probably about 50-50 in terms of what we get. But an owner operator can really run the business until they reach maybe like 70, 80 clients, in which case at that point, if they do want to grow, they're going to have to bring help on. But it does give them a good runway to not have to worry about that extra expense if they
And
don't.
talking about the customer themselves, what is the average size? Like, do you see it somewhere like in the 10 employee or 20 employees? What do you typically see?
I believe the system-wide average is about 10 employees. And what's nice again is that you're not limited. So the software that we use, which is called iSolved, allows you to provide service to any size client. So if you do happen to have a connection or, meet a business owner that has more employees, 100, 200, 300, you have the ability to provide that service. It's just more that the underserved community is that 25 and under count.
So as far as launch time, once they've signed the agreement, how long can they start until they can start making money?
There's only one variable in there, and that's the sales and marketing training, which is a 3-day virtual training. So it kind of depends on how frequently those are, which are usually about every 6 to 8 weeks, but it really is anywhere from 60 to 90 days. The training is a lot of self-paced online modules that they can get through quickly, and then the 3-day training is kind of the final piece.
Okay.
And then what about your ideal of franchise owner? Is there a specific background or experience that you're looking for?
It's interesting because some of our top performers come from all different backgrounds. So we have CPAs in there that took this on as a side business for their current business. We've got people that came from the IT world, people that came from sales and marketing, people that came from retail, and they're all doing well. So I think the most important piece is someone who can network and grow the business, because as an owner, that's the most important piece. So with a sales background or just experience in that type of industry in general is probably the most important piece. But again, if you come from payroll and numbers or bookkeeping or whatever, it's then that piece is easier for you to learn. Then you get somebody to help you out with the sales. So that's why really it could be for anybody. It's a pretty cool opportunity.
Absolutely. All right. Well, tell us about the investment. And specifically, I always have the question on item 7, the franchise fee varies. Can you also go into the variable?
Yeah, so we have the initial franchise fee is 68,500, and that's for our basic territory, which is the population of 150,000 people. You can expand that territory, so they do have the option to kind of lay a claim to a larger piece of the pie, so to speak. They can add an additional 75,000 in population for a total of 225, and that's 10,000 more, so 78.5. Or they can double their territory size. So go to 300,000 population for 20,000 more, so 88.5. So there's the range there, so 68.5 to 88.5. And then in terms of the investment after that, they have to do an insurance. That would be the next cost after they sign their franchise agreement. And then we have ongoing monthly fees, which are going to start off at just under $2,000 a month. And that's the royalties, the software, the technology, the marketing, all of those pieces. But they do give them a grace period on that. So they have their first 3 months of ownership fee free. The roughly $2,000 a month starts in their 4th month of ownership. And that's after their training also. So they go through their training first, they open their doors 3 months, then they start making those payments.
You know that?
I did not.
I didn't know that. That's awesome. Okay. Let's see here. Well, we love sharing success stories. What's the biggest success story that stands out to you with your franchisees or in general?
So, I mean, this is relatively new to me, and I've only been doing it for just about a year now. But I would say that I've really kind of been excited to see the people that I have brought in. At this point, I have brought in 7 new franchisees, and of those 7, they've all gotten started. They've all gotten their training. I see their LinkedIn posts, and I just get really excited to see that they are happy doing what they're doing, and they're hitting the ground running. And it's rewarding in general to see that you can ultimately change people's lives.
And what about support? I know obviously you have the technology and the software, but what other types of support does?
So there's all the training is there, the modules are there. They really outline it for them in terms of what should be watched week 1 and week 2 and week 3. But they also have access to that down the road. So if they hire and bring on a payroll specialist or another salesperson, they have access to all that training, so they to reinvent the wheel and train the employees. They can watch the same modules, but also as ongoing support, the team will join a new franchisee for their first few sales calls. They'll join the franchisee for the first few onboarding of clients into the software. They really are there throughout the entire first year to ensure they're set up for success. They come out and visit. Sean or Trisha will come to actually visit when they get started, so they can, really make sure they're up and running. And then also, there's a lot of support for getting questions answered. So if there's something that comes up with payroll that hasn't come up before, they can reach out to the whole franchise system and get a question asked in like a forum where somebody can jump in and help them out. Or the software itself has a really great support system to help answer questions if something goes kind of wacky. And then also the Payroll Vault corporate team has a whole help desk ticket system to help with support. So they have a lot of different ways that they can reach out and get questions answered or any type of help that they may need.
Okay.
And that brings up an excellent point. So, the strength of franchising is not just the brand itself, it's your fellow franchise owners. And so you mentioned that there's a forum that they can kind of collaborate and whatnot. Do you guys have conventions or anything yet, or any other ways that the franchise owners get to collaborate?
So twice a month, they do have a group meeting where they get everybody on. They talk about sales and marketing, strategies that are working, strategies that aren't working, things like that. So they do get together for like a Zoom call twice a month. And then twice a year, they have a convention, and then they have an owners exchange. So one is in August and then one is in February. And so the convention is for like the team and everybody's staff. And then the owners exchange is just the franchise owners, where they get together and collaborate and work together on new ideas and things like that.
Love it.
Okay. All right. What's the future growth look like?
We're moving quickly now. With Oak Scale taking over the sales and development, we've got a lot of great connections, obviously, in the consultant world, and then also we fuel our own leads with our brand Franchise Help. So we've got a lot of great candidates in the pipeline. We really are looking to bring on about 3 to 4 new franchisees on a monthly basis.
Awesome. Okay.
So, anything that you can think of that we have not covered, or questions that we didn't ask that you think would be important?
One thing I did forget to mention is you said regular recurring revenue, which is obviously a nice thing. Even nicer about that is they don't have to invoice. There's no collections. They're going to automatically draft their fees when they draft the money to pay employees. So they don't even have to worry about chasing down to get paid. They're going to get automatic.
That is fantastic.
Awesome. All right. Well, I learned some new things. Did you learn some new things? We have matching shirts that we're sporting.
Love it. I love it.
All right. I guess that's it. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any upcoming interviews.
And
to my left.
and if you again, if you have any questions regarding Payroll Vault, if you want to know if your market's available, feel free to shoot me a text at 270-215-2844.
Thanks, Heather.
Thank you guys.
Heather.
Bye.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye.